Hey guys, Frankomatic here. I feel like I might have gone a little overboard on turning the music down this time, but whatever. That's fine. It's a process. We're back with Heads Will Roll. Last time, we killed a knight, if I recall. Yeah, we sure did. We got his knight's chain. Got a cross pendant. A bunch of medicine. And a whole bunch of stuff we don't really need. Also, poor Bart got pretty busted up. About my wounded friend. Your friend is an extremely stubborn person. Only miserable bits of life remained in his body, but he clung to them as if with the grip of a wild animal. To be honest, another man in his place would have died long ago. That means he'll be fine, doesn't it? I don't remember saying anything like that. Or precisely, maybe he'll be fine, but only if he gets treatment as soon as possible. He is on the verge of death, and any delay in his case can easily turn out to be fatal. I beg you, tell me that you will treat him. Alright, so be it. I'll take him upon myself, but we still have one major problem. Due to the overwhelming number of wounded, we have serious problems with medicines. There are simply not enough of them for everyone. The situation is worsened by the fact that your friend might develop sepsis. I think you understand what I mean. Tell me what you need to save him and I'll get it. These are honorable words. I'm afraid it's not that simple. Of course, I'll make a list of everything necessary, but not all that is needed can be acquired with a snap of the fingers. Otherwise, I would have done it myself. However, you are a resourceful person. Maybe you will find a way out. We need potent medicine and an antidote. Yeah, one potent medicine and one antidote. So if we want to... An antidote is... medicine and healing herbs or medicine in a canteen. Antidote 2 is medicine, canteen, water bottle. Potent medicine is medicine in a water skin. So we are going to get rid of a bunch of this stuff. We don't need this. We don't need this. We don't need this. We don't need this. We'll buy healing herb. We'll buy this canteen just because. And we'll buy up this leather. Alright, just to double check before I screw this up. Potent medicine is medicine and a water skin. We need to make a water skin. A water skin is 4 leather. We need medicine. We need water skin. That's the potent medicine. And now we need antidote 2. Antidote 2 is medicine, canteen, water bottle. We have that. Do medicine, canteen, wine bottle. Antidote 2. Here's your medicine. Here's your antidote. You got everything you asked for. Are you kidding? Did you really get it all? Well, that is great. In this case, your friend's chances of making it alive increase greatly. I'll take care of him personally, you can rest assured. 20 XP. Do not take this as indelicacy, but since you've got those kinds of medicine, since you can get those kinds of medicine, can I ask you for a favor? Together we could treat many wounded. Yeah, sure, I can get more. I'll do anything for you. The boldness catches Cecilia by surprise, and she raises her eyebrows. However, such an answer is clearly pleasing to her. She cannot hide it. I hoped that part about saving many lives would still motivate you, but I'm not going to lie, this answer is fine by me too. Alright, we should have... He wants more potent medicines, which we can't really make at the moment. Some tourniquets and some antidotes. There's one antidote. We don't have enough healing herbs to make a medicine. I want to make a tourniquet. Tourniquets. Just need 3 cloth. Okay, so if we can buy 6 cloth, we can finish that out. Ooh, a water skin. They have 5 cloth. That's annoying. Oh, we'll buy 3 for now. 1. Oh, we had 1. So we can make the 2 tourniquets. Exciting gameplay here, I know, but we do what we must. We made an extra one. Camp physician talk. Medical supplies. Antidote. Medical supplies. Antidote. Medical supplies. Tourniquet. Medical supplies. Tourniquet. And now we need to make the potent medicines, which is medicine and water skin, right? Alright. First thing we're going to do is scavenge. Get out of the camp and go to the surrounding forest to replenish your supplies, heading towards the unknown adventures lying ahead. Your journey takes you to a forest located near one of the villages. Here you meet a local herbalist. Apparently you don't look very friendly or trustworthy because the woman hurries to retreat the moment she sees you, leaving you to collect herbs alone. Virtue check failed. Well. That leather. Get that leather. Get that leather. Get another healing herb. Let's get rid of one of these. We've got plenty of leather. We only need 4. Let's get rid of this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. Get the rest of these healing herbs. Thanks to your talent as a huntsman, you managed to get some game for sale. 20 florins received. Wandering around the countryside, you run into a wealthy nobleman out on a hunt with his retinue. Nobleman acknowledges your status and offers you to join him on the hunt. Sure. After the hunt ends, an old man, impressed by your skills, presents you with a parting gift. Huh. What is this? That is interesting. Alright. Throw that on the ground and take this thing. Rest of your way back goes smoothly. Okay. First off, let's make another water skin. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now let's see if we can make some medicine. 1 medicine. I made 2 medicine. Okay. So we do 1 potent medicine. Did I make 2? I think it did. Yep, sure did. Okay. Let's give over our potent medicines. 1 and 2. You managed to get everything I asked for. And rightfully consider yourself a guardian angel of the English army, and I'm not the only one who owes you, but a good half of the royal army. A bunch of virtue and reputation. Okay, let's, what all is in my inventory here? Whole bunch of nothing. Alright. Oh, my chest. Dump that in there. Dump that in there. Dump those in there. There we go. Alright. We got a talent point. Which we want to bypass enemy armor. Get some training in. There we go. Shortly after the start of the siege, the camp starts to experience small supply disruptions. You find out the cause is in the wagons coming from Dunkirk that got stuck due to the roads being washed out by the rain. King doesn't want to risk the morale and combat effectiveness of the army, and gives the order to outfit detachments of foragers that will go into the surrounding settlements to collect food. When distinguished yourself during the recent battles in Cambrai, and being already acquainted with the Earl, you are placed in charge of one of these small detachments. The sergeant gives you a map of the area on which several nearby villages are marked, places that you have to visit. While instructing you, the sergeant urges you not to show excessive aggression towards the local residents, but also not to babysit them either. The soldiers need something to eat, and the peasants will have to share whether they want to or not. Also, he said, one should always keep one's ear to the ground when dealing with villagers. It's not for nothing that an old English proverb says, "In the woods there are fancy-ass pheasants, in mud huts there are dirty-ass peasants." In addition, the sergeant advises you to take a good look at the surrounding places, and if you come across a place that the foragers have forgotten about, where you can still get a wholesome food, be sure to report it to him. For a reward, of course. So we could sell out Ava's manor to the sergeant, which will have negative effects on our relationship with her, as you might expect. I am going to... yeah. I'm going to swap this for this. And if we go over to quests and travel, we have the 3 villages. Now, we promised Ava we would not go out, we would try to not cause any untoward damage, if you recall, and it's important that we try to stick to that. After about a 2-hour journey, you reach a settlement called Barfleur, located west of Cambrai. The village looks frankly poor, and one of your companions immediately says the peasants here probably don't have anything even for themselves. The peasants you come across on the way look tattered and intimidated, and do not at all resemble wealthy people you could take something from. Taking a good look around, you find the village headman, whose words only confirm your observations. There is nothing to take in Barfleur, because the locals themselves can hardly make ends meet. The soldiers look at you inquiringly, awaiting your decisions. An order is an order, take what little you can find. Be a dick about it, basically. Buy the food, or just leave. We will buy the food, because we have plenty of money. Not wanting to bleed the people dry, but at the same time not daring to disobey the royal order, you try to find a compromise and offer the villages to sell their food to you. Of course, there's no such talk about buying at market price, but at least some kind of compensation will clearly be better than nothing, and at least will allow them to not starve to death. After Whittle thought, the head's been asked for 50 florins. We have a little more than 50 florins. If we did not, we could ask the other soldiers to help, and if they like us enough, they might do so. But we can just pay it ourselves. You pay the peasants out of your own pocket and fill bales and sacks with what little you are able to find. Gold decreased by 50, virtue increased by 15. On the way back, you overhear the conversations of 2 soldiers calling you a good Christian and thanking you for not making them take the last crumbs from people. Heading east from camp, you soon arrive at a large village called Fer à Cheval. Large, clean houses and quite decently, by the village standards, dressed people immediately strike your eye. The locals clearly live very comfortably. However, you cannot get to the center of the settlement to have a good look at it. A group of armed people quickly blocks the road. An elderly man leading them introduces himself as the head of the village, and suggests you get the hell out, stating that looters and foragers are not welcome here. Although the headman tries to avoid outright rudeness, he does not particularly choose his words, and one can clearly hear ill-concealed threats in them. Tension grows quickly, and the soldiers, with their hands on the hilts of their swords and axes, start questioning glances at you, eagerly awaiting your decision. We can fight the peasants and just murder the shit out of them. We can try to reason with them, or we can just give up. Let's try and reason with them. In an effort to avoid bloodshed, you try to reason with the villagers, explaining to them that if they refuse you today, then tomorrow half of the royal army will pay them a visit and their houses will be leveled to the ground. We do not have enough virtue, so we have failed. Despite all your eloquence, the peasants absolutely do not want to listen to you, stating that, firstly, you have a thug's mug, and secondly, you are all lying. So in order to get a pretty good item, for the early game at least, from Ava, I'm going to just leave. I feel a particular desire to get involved in a dangerous battle with the militiamen for several sacks of flour and decide to turn back. A thought revolves in your head that it would be nice to punish those yokels for audacious words, but this vendetta will have to be postponed until next time. Before you time to ride off, you're a loud shout from one of the armed peasants behind you. That's right, run away, cowards. Your squad members, who moments before were happy that everything was done without bloodshed, immediately change their mood and demand to turn back and teach these bastards a lesson. Ignore them. Despite the soldiers' willingness to put up a fight, decide to ignore the incident and return home. They don't like it. And we have one last village to check out. Village 3. Find a village called, however you pronounce that, a few hours southeast of camp. As you approach the settlement, you hear the echoes of a not-so-French song coming from there, and you begin to feel that something is amiss. My mother told me, someday I will buy a galley with good oars, sail to distant shores. You soon realize your fears were not in vain. The village is already thoroughly plundered. By your own allies, no less. Those are mercenaries from among the people of Lord Canterbury, whose camp is located on the north side of Cambrai. A small group of mercenaries sat on their horses, laden with all kinds of booty, loudly singing a song as they prepare to set off. You were not the only one who received the task of obtaining food, but the places for foraging were strictly distributed between different units. Having plundered wherever, the mercenaries crossed into foreign territory, and they can probably get a serious punishment for such arbitrariness. Morale does not particularly baffle them. Only a few people seem to react to it all. But they just get a better grip on their weapons, while the rest continue to prepare the horses. As you step towards them, you are stopped by one of your squad members. He quickly warns you against rash actions regarding the mercenaries, since quarreling with them is the quickest way to end up 6 feet under. Lowering his voice, he cautiously adds that the mercenary heading your way looks suspiciously like Rufin, one of Count Canterbury's confidants. I have the reputation of ruthless cutthroat who has killed enough people in his lifetime to fill a graveyard. Comrade implores you not to risk provoking him, for otherwise you could easily become an addition to his list of victims. The mercenary's expressionless face is covered in numerous scars, and his armor in chips and dents. He looks like a man who has been through 100 battles and stared death in the face more than once. His piercing gaze makes you uneasy. Who the hell are you, fleabags? It is your parents who are fleabags, and we are foragers from Earl Northampton's squad, arrived here to requisition provisions as ordered by the King of England. Once you want to get in big trouble with serious people, have your men unload the sacks and drag them all here. We'll be taking it all. If you're fast enough, I'll do you a favor. I won't tell anyone about this incident. Huh. I don't know what's more pathetic, your insults or intimidation attempts. Although, come to think of it, I do. It is your appearance. Interested in the discussion, Ruffin's men and members of your squad come closer, forming a ring around you and stripping the conversation of confidentiality. You look like a stinking swineherd who fancied himself a warrior instead of sticking to cleaning up manure. Watch your tongue. I'm here on the king's orders, and I will not tolerate... You will. You will shut up and you will tolerate. Tolerate that I called you a stinky swineherd in front of all your men. And the fact that we took provisions from this village, you will tolerate it too. I also might just spit in your face right now and you'd tolerate it all the same. Neither you or any of your ragamuffin friends are going to do anything about it. If, of course, none of you wish to end up in the mud with a belly ripped open. Rufin's hand rests on the hilt of his sword, eloquently demonstrating his willingness to fight. Isn't that right? So, Rufin's gonna kick my ass. However, the belly ripped open, you say? The mercenary's insolence has crossed all imaginable boundaries, and you're not going to forgive him for disrespecting you like that, especially in front of a few dozen people. You draw your weapon. I'll teach you to watch your mouth. Doubt it. He is correct. We will not do that. We will almost certainly get absolutely walloped here. As Rufin is, pretty powerful. There's a reason for this. If we get far enough in, you'll find out why. I'm honestly shocked that hit. We have literally no chance to hit him. Overhead strike. Nope, we just have no chance to hit him. I gorg it. Ouch. Wow, that went pretty bad already. A coagulant. Get rid of the bleeding. We still have literally no chance at all to hit him. If I still had an antidote and put it in my bag, I can fix our poison problem, but, arm muscles cut. Oh, that's bad. Weapon skill reduced by 6. Well, we literally have no chance of hitting him at this point. And he got us. He got us good. However, it's fine. The miracle that you were hoping for does not happen, and as one would expect, the encounter with the seasoned mercenary doesn't go in your favor. Receiving blow after blow, you start to bleed heavily, and after another wound, you lose the last bits of your strength and limply fall to the ground amid the laughter of mercenaries. Felt like a bag of shit, states Rufin, wiping the blade of his sword on your clothes. Felt like one, too. For asking your men whether any of them still wish to voice any grievances and receiving no response, Rufin shrugs his shoulders, turns around, and walks away in the company of his comrades. As he walks past you, he slows down for a second and whispers, "Welcome to the sun." When the mercenaries ride off, your comrades rush to you to administer first aid. While you did not emerge victorious from this battle, the fact that you found the courage to challenge Rufin has certainly increased your standing among your peers. Realizing, well, there is nothing worthwhile left in the village, you nevertheless decide to quickly walk through the houses. I don't know how we're doing that, considering how, where we're at negative 22 HP. And immediately you come across an unpleasant surprise. Almost in every house you are greeted by the owners, with blank stares of their cold, dead eyes. Rufin's men not only plundered this place, appropriating what should have been yours, but also slaughtered almost all of its inhabitants. And you've let them get away with it. You are well aware the odds were stacked against you, and yet you can't help but blame yourself for what happened. You swear the next time you meet Rufin, you'll make him pay for his actions. Your squad returns in complete silence. Upon returning to camp, you are promptly escorted to a doctor, leaving Cecilia horrified by your state. You attempt to recount what happened, she shuts you up, telling you that you need to conserve your strength. The girl remains by your bedside for the remainder of the evening, tending to your many wounds. She is initially unreceptive at your attempts at conversation, but after a few hours, when your life is no longer in jeopardy, she relents. At midnight, you find yourself engaged in a conversation about everything under the sun. When you finally fall asleep, Cecilia sits next to you for a long time, watching over you. There she is. After visiting all the villages marked on the map, you return to the camp, where the sergeant is already waiting for you. Seeing that you are not returning empty-handed, he immediately cheers up. But as soon as he realizes that you have brought almost nothing, his joy immediately gives way to irritation. According to the sergeant, even though starvation does not threaten you now, with such results you can definitely forget about hearty meals for next week. When you start talking about some kind of symbolic reward for the time spent, the sergeant suggests that you go to hell, saying that anyone would have done the job better, and he was seriously mistaken in trusting you with such a task. Nonetheless, he still throws you a few florins as a minimum compensation for your work. He suggests you go to hell with your excuses and only really listens to the story of your encounter with the gang of mercenaries. The sergeant is clearly concerned about it, and he promises to report the incident to the Earl. Yep, we have enough for civic talent. And I'm just going to take Beast of Burden. Nice, simple, 5 extra inventory spaces. That's it. Alright, what we want to do next is double check and make sure... Yeah, I thought so. Want to get rid of this toxicity. There we go. Leaving injuries around is not a good idea for several reasons. Find another canteen. Go to our inventory. Pop that into our bag. Oh, before I do that, actually, I just remembered. We want to... talk to the blacksmith. Repair my stuff. I thought my Gorget was damaged. It is, I just forgot that you cannot repair it while it's equipped. Fix my Gorget, buddy. Thanks. I could repair it myself, but it will get a little messed up because I'm not a great blacksmith. Whereas having the blacksmith do it brings it back to perfect condition. Okay, let's see. Can we find... low-quality mail. I think that'll work. Quest and travel is incorrect. Crafting. Craft armor. 1 and 2. And I think that will meet the requirements of the blacksmith. The order is ready. The armor's ready. I followed your every instruction. Well, let's examine the fruits of your genius. Great. Everything looks to be in order. Here's the reward. All as promised. Bunch of money. I have to admit, you're kind of good at this. It's always nice to work with people who know their stuff. Hit me up if you want some more work. By the way, I've got some interesting stuff in my hand at times, usually leftovers from unfulfilled orders. Come take a look. Perhaps it might be something you're liking. Now we can buy equipment from him. And it is usually a little bit better than you can get a hold of in the regular trade area. Speaking of, go back to the Lambert estate. Perhaps I should greet you as a hero. At least this is the opinion of the population of Barfleur and Ferrachevel, the only 2 villages around here that have escaped looting and burning. In both of those places, according to the peasants, you were present with your detachment. It seems that a promise given to a lady is not just empty words for you. I'll remember that. Actions clearly show that honor and human life are more important to you than gold. Or it would be strange on my part not to reward you for your deeds. Moreover, I'm sure those decisions took a toll on your career. Take this as a token of my gratitude. 60 florins. You also get this, the Oath, which is +2 to all your stats, but if you remove it, it's gone forever. It's a pretty good item. But what happened in That other place. The surviving residents spoke of a band of English cutthroats. I know who they were talking about. I arrived too late, so the villains were able to get away. However, I know who was behind this, and I will make sure that man will be punished. I'll make him pay for what he did to your people, rest assured. I believe you. I pray that retribution befalls those damn marauders. Came to visit you. Oh, that's new. What have I done to deserve such honor? Don't judge me too harshly. I just wanted to spend time with you, if possible. It is possible. After all, what kind of hostess am I if I put guests who come in with good intentions out the door? Thank you. Pleasure is all mine. Ask her about life here. Notice that your estate is living quite a busy life despite the war. This is true. Many local villages took refuge here after the arrival of the English and the subsequent foraging raids. My people and I guarantee protection to all subjects of the de Lambert House and the French crown in general, therefore there are a lot of people who want to hide behind these walls. I see. We also became the center of local commerce, since Cambrai was cut off from the rest of the province. People need money even during the war. Well, other material needs are not going away either, of course. That means that almost everyone who needs to buy or sell something regularly drops by. Take a stroll through our market square on the way back. Maybe you will find something useful to buy. How about the locals with some extra coins? Marauders do not particularly disturb us here, and we feel relatively safe so far, but who knows what will happen next. Ask about our father. You mentioned your father when we first met. Something about him helping the French king raise an army? My father has been fighting the English all his life, first in Scotland, then in Flanders, then somewhere else. I hardly saw him when I was a child, because he was always on military campaigns. Each time he returned with new scars and wounds. I was afraid of him as a child. He seemed too rude and harsh to me. I didn't know what to do when I was around him. I didn't know what to talk to him about. My own affairs, problems, and worries seemed simply meaningless next to him. It would be interesting to hear about my new dress for a person who has traveled around the world, crushed armies of many thousands, and concluded treaties that decided the fate of kings and kingdoms. The story could easily have come to a bad end, but as I grew up, we found a common ground. Looking at him, I learned to distinguish good from evil and truth from falsehood. I've learned a lot from him, including love for my own country. If the de Lambert estate had not turned into a shelter for hundreds of refugees, the concern for the life and safety of whom fell on my shoulders then, make no mistake, I would have been defending Cambrai with a sword in my hand. And I would be happy to die for my country, my family, and my king. And you, Eric? I'm ready to die for my country. As any soldier is supposed to be. I can see it in your eyes. There's some kind of fatalism behind them, a stern and silent willingness to face anything that is brought down upon you, then to emerge victorious from the fight with your fate, or to die. As befits a man, as befits a man. Even though you are fighting under a different banner, I can't help but respect you for this. Now, their store has some interesting stuff. Could get a decent pouch. Could have just bought an antidote, too. I'm going to buy these fancy shoes. I'm going to buy the loot. And we need to spend 150. Is there anything else we can buy for another 50? Yeah, I'll buy the antidote too, sure. You seem to like our local products. I heard that you had become a regular at our market. Hope you're not disappointed with your purchases, and thank you for your generosity. Thanks to you, a lot of locals were able to earn a living and make ends meet in these tough times. Odd as it may seem, we would have had a much harder time without you. Please accept my gratitude. It's very easy to get a high relationship with Ava. You just have to not be a huge asshole. Now, all this stuff, the only thing we're gonna keep is the fancy shoes. Put this leather away. And let's put away the second loot. Yeah, there we go. Alright, now back to... Now it's time to actually burn some time here. Actually, do I want to put on the oath? The answer is yes. Pop that on. There we go. In an attempt to somehow brighten up the incredible gloom of everyday life in the siege camp, one of the knights from Count Sunderland's entourage is organizing a fist-fighting tournament. Each noble lord will nominate a single champion from their retinue. When you bring the Earl the news about the upcoming tournament, he, being busy with the development of his ingenious plans to conquer the city together with the prince, does not pay him much mind. And so he suggests to send you there. Being in good physical shape, you are used to feeling confident in fights, and therefore you are considering the opportunity to participate in the tournament. Promises of a generous reward for the winner are certainly tempting. Let's do it. On reflection, you accept the Earl's offer and decide to participate. The gist of the tournament is quite simple. All fights will consist of 3 5-minute rounds, according to the results of which the judges determine the winner, who has delivered the most significant blows. Also, the fight can be ended prematurely if one of the fighters surrenders, is knocked out, or otherwise loses the capability to continue the fight. Your opponent turned out to be a big lad, Fulton Everley, a cavalryman from among the people of Lord Canterbury. Ideally described as a hefty chap, Fulton is almost more wide than tall and has remarkable physical strength. However, like most big guys, he certainly has stamina issues that will become apparent in the later rounds. In any case, the fight with him will not be easy. Looking around the large crowd of spectators, you know Cecilia just a few seconds before the start of the fight, who watches you with interest. You catch her gaze, but a moment later a gong sounds announcing the start of the battle and ridding your head of all the extraneous thoughts. Get in there. Demonstrating your fearlessness, you start out the first round with a reckless close-range exchange. To the surprise of the audience, who expect that the big man would literally break you over his knee, the fight is almost on equal footing. Moreover, you manage to emerge victorious with the most powerful blow exchanges at close distance. Fulton got his clock cleaned, and so he ends the round already unsteady on his feet. The advantage is definitely yours. Do it again. Start the second round with a confident performance at close range. With a series of heavy body punches, you knock the air out of Fulton, forcing him to go into deep defense mode. Most of his attempts to respond are extremely unconvincing, and by the end of the round, you have no doubt that the second segment is yours. Seeing that the enemy doesn't protect his upper body with his hands, you put all of your remaining strength into one last strike, almost blowing poor Fulton's head off. The defeated enemy crashes to the ground and begins to show some signs of life only a few minutes later. As a result, you execute an excellent knockout, which brings you a victory and a thunderous ovation from a crowd of spectators. And we get 55 florins. To boost soldiers' morale, Jarl buys a couple of kegs of wine from a local merchant and treats all of his men to a jug each. Thanks, I guess. Let's bump up our vitality a bit. Page comes looking for you. He tells you to request you for some important matter. You should report to him immediately. You're gonna have to wait, buddy. Alright, let's go talk to the Earl. Ah, Eric. Glad to see you in one piece. Yes, it's sad that even with such brave men as you, luck still doesn't turn to face us and we continue to hang out under these damn walls. However, all is according to the will of God. As for you, you showed yourself excellently during the assault. I think my increased respect for you will be an excellent reward. Let's not risk it and say thank you. Well, thanks for nothing, I guess. Boy, son, come here for a second. Here, like, you've been pretty busy setting up your little business here, crafting all kinds of stuff and then selling it to everyone around you. But here, good soldier ought to be cunning and resourceful, particularly when there are supply issues, which, as is often the case, are currently plenty. What a good soldier should not do is profit at the expense of his comrades, which people say is kind of what you're doing. Well, the guys are even starting to get a little bit jealous. Don't worry, it's not too late to win this all over, and there's just the right opportunity to do so. The supply situation is rather dire, and my men's equipment is showing a bit of wear and tear. By the time we began seeking replacements, if you know what I mean. You do know what I mean, right? Yeah. Of course, always ready to help my comrades out. When a friend is in trouble and my name gets called, I will fly there as fast as a crossbow bolt. Yeah, sounds like something a crossbowman might say. Here's the deal. Give me a couple of leather sheaths and 2 pairs of boots. Of decent quality, something that would last for at least a couple of months. I know you craftsmen. Everything is sold then. Alright, so if we can get those, that's great. If we can't, whatever, it's fine. We've been promoted. Do I need to talk to the Earl again? I do. Arriving on the orders of the Earl, you find him in the company of the Prince, surrounded by several uncorked bottles of the wine you obtained earlier. When you appear, the conversation between them dies down and both begin to inspect you with interest. Yeah, no, I see the semblance. The mug, of course, is a little thuggish, but on the whole, looks quite virtuous. Exactly. What's the matter? You think he can handle it? He seems to have a head on his shoulders, this boy, and even with some semblance of wrinkles in it. Certainly better than the most smooth-brained lions here. You need a quick-witted person who is, at the same time, quite who can be entrusted with responsible business, and he is certainly the best candidate. So be it. Listen here, boy. You probably already understood we are thoroughly stuck under Cambrai. Although, according to the plan, we should have been deep in France by this time. This bloody little town has become a bone in the king's throat, a bone that could well ruin the whole war venture. This next assault will soon take place, and it should be decisive. In order to not screw it up again, we need to get as much information as possible about the state of affairs in the city itself. How big are the losses of the French, and what state are their fortifications? Has their morale fallen? Are there enough provisions? And so on. Do you understand? I understand, but what have I got to do with it? We need eyes and ears in the city, and you are the right fit. Tell him. You have to sneak into the city, boy, and scout the situation there. You don't have to worry. There will be almost no danger. It's a real deal. We thought it all over. You went to the city under the guise of a monk who allegedly escaped from one of the nearby abbeys, which were so conveniently plundered by the mercenaries of Lord Canterbury. There will be no risk. Put on some rags, put on a cross, make your way through the unsuspecting guards into the city, scout the situation there, and then dash back like a hog. Most schmoes won't know what hit them. A great plan. And most importantly, reliable, like the Roman roads. Sure. I think this is a great plan. Ah, you bet. Look, after all, even if you are killed, the likelihood of which, of course, is present, then it will be quite possible to assume that you died as a man of God. At the Last Judgment, this will obviously count. Exactly. No downsides. Your confidence makes me happy. Once again, I realized I was not mistaken in you, boy. Unexpectedly, the prince removes a dagger from his belt and with a sharp blow plunges it into the wooden table. This is for you. Obviously, you cannot sneak a sword or axe into the city, but a knife will do. As the old saying goes, no written law is stronger than cold steel. Holding out your hand to take the dagger, you cannot help but think that a weapon is the last thing you need for such a mission. We do get a parrying dagger, though, which does give us a, +1 weapon skill and 1 guaranteed dodge for every 10 points of coordination. Could be worse. Alright, so before we do this quest, there are 2 things we want to do. First, we want to get our blacksmith's hammer out of our chest. Now then, we want to swap this out. We want to swap this out. The hammer and the cross are very important. If you have the Knight's Chain, do not be wearing the Knight's Chain when you go to try this. You will instantly fail, because this is a French Knight's Chain, and you are not a French Knight, and they will recognize it. But we should be okay here. By order of the prince, some of the units blocking the city briefly leave their positions, opening a corridor for infiltration to Cambrai. You're among the many refugees from the surrounding abbeys who are seeking refuge in the city. By the other refugees, you fall under the scrutiny of the guards at the entrance of the city. Where the possibility of English spies entering the city, they carefully examine your appearance. Our luck check has failed. I only find that something here smells fishy. It takes you aside for more detailed examination and interrogation. The guards begin to question you about the details of your escape from an abbey, but each chance you get them makes them more and more suspicious. As the city slowly begins to close behind you, the situation becomes more dangerous. It's showtime. Try and bribe him. Realizing your cover is falling apart, you decide to try a risky step and offer to pay the guards to let you into the city. After thinking for a minute, the French ask you for 45 florins. Yep. As the coins drive in your pocket into the pocket of the guards, all suspicions are immediately removed. After making you swear that you are not a spy, you are let into the city. Things are going quite well for you in the city. Looking around, you take notice of several sections of the defensive structures that were damaged the most during the previous assaults and are now very vulnerable. In addition, while exploring the city, you managed to exchange a few words with a good dozen residents and soldiers, all of whom spoke about the, albeit not dire, but difficult situation of the besieged. A problem appears in the form of an impudent Flemish knight who accidentally bumps into you in some half-empty alley. He straight away declares that he does not like your mug. So, this is why we brought the hammer. Whack! Taking advantage of the seclusion of the area, you decide to stun the knight with a blacksmith's hammer. The knight begins to catch on and reaches for a sword, but you act faster and knock him out with a heavy blow. As the knight recovers, you scamper through one of the alleyways, disappearing into the city without a trace. After collecting all the necessary information and waiting for night, you plan to return back to camp. Now that you know the strong and weak points of the fortifications, you find a place where, under the cover of darkness, you can relatively easily get out of the city. A night guard post located nearby becomes an unexpected obstacle on your way out. Knock him out with a hammer. Using the opportune moment when one of the guards steps away, you sneak up on the other one and stun him with a deft blow with the blacksmith's hammer. You then hurry back to camp. Here on the Prince take your success for granted, attributing it entirely to the ingenuity of their plan. However, you also get a certain praise. Impressed by your service and accomplishments, the Earl decides to promote you. We are now a sergeant. Alright. Before I forget, I want to swap this and this back on. We no longer have any strong need for the hammer or the pendant. Anything interesting here? Not really. Alright, we can do a little bit more training. Get one more point of strength. Get 2 more points of strength. Yeah, I think now it's time to just burn the time. There we go. Alright, let's finish this chapter out. The air in the camp fills with tension as the English army is getting on for the second decisive assault. The initial plan of a lightning-fast campaign and fast advance into French territory as envisioned by the king is not just at risk, it is about to come apart at the seams. Any delay can result in incalculable risks. Reports from the farthest centuries indicate that the French king Jean II is already pulling in troops from all across his realm to the borders of the province. That means thousands of knights, including the very best of the French chevaliers. Whatever. Lingering at Cambrai for one more week would pretty much spell doom for the English army, and English army that will find itself stuck between a rock and a hard place, with impenetrable city walls on one side and the French king's ironclad heavy cavalry on the other. Seeking to delay the advance of the French troops and buy more time for another decisive offensive, King Edward allocates about a quarter of his troops to Thomas Marshall, a prominent English commander, to intercept and set back Jean's approaching forces, not yet joined together into one unstoppable army. This bold move leaves no doubt that the events of the several upcoming days will decide the fate of the campaign. Tension quickly spreads from the lords and knights to the sergeants and mere soldiers, and when the time for the assault comes, the whole army is on edge, every last man understanding the weight of the situation. Learning that lesson from the previous failed attempts to storm the city, the English begin the assault by barraging the walls from all available siege engines. This time, however, the barrage is not chaotic and is only aimed at several spots considered to be the weakest. Tattered by the siege, the fortifications can barely withstand the onslaught. Soon, several fragments of the wall start to crumble, creating gaps in what previously seemed to be an impenetrable defense. The southern wall, which has suffered some of the most devastating blows, collapses almost by a quarter, creating a way into the city. Observing this, the king declares that section as the main attack direction and orders the infantry to advance. Reluctant to risk his best men right away, Northampton orders his most competent soldiers, including you, to stay back and let the militiamen pave the way. We'll make do. Having spilled enough of your own blood in the previous battles, you're happy to oblige. After about a half hour of 8, a courier arrives with the news that the southern wall has been pretty much entirely captured, but the attacking force has been bogged down in the street fighting. King immediately orders reinforcements to head towards the southern wall to aid the militia. The second wave was led by the prince himself, who has been told by his father to come back either a victor or a dead man. Entering the city through the collapsed wall, you arrive just in time for a French counterattack. With the first wave having already been bled dry, the task of repelling it falls on you. We've got a buddy with us. Our buddy is pretty bad. Our opponents aren't much better, though. What we are going to do is attack this guy Give his shield a little bit of a thwack. There we go. Oh, we're a little bit injured because I didn't fully rest. Well, that's fine. And if we want to attack this guy... we could. Let's whack him with our shield first. And let's take his head off. Alright, so that's one guy down. My buddy's really going in here for some reason. I don't know why he's going quite that hard. Lower our fatigue a little bit. Give him a little whack upside the head. Let's give him another little whack upside the head. Or I guess we can whiff, that's fine. Rolls are just not going so great here. There we go. Get our fatigue down to nothing. If we go offensive, do we have any real chance of hitting him? Those odds aren't bad. Let's go for the body. That bleed might be enough to take him out. Either way, we will kill him now. Get out of here, buddy. We got no real need to grab up junk. Even though the French counterattack ultimately results in failure, it manages to delay you and can earn the enemy more time. Now, instead of a dozen disorganized men, the entrance to the city is protected by a fully assembled shield wall. Time for a boss fight. Immovable as a monolith, it easily repels one English attack after another. Winded and bloodied, with each failed attempt, our allies are less and less eager to continue pushing forward. In the absence of volunteers, it falls to you to lead another charge. So, the shield wall. Also, Bart's here. If you helped him out, this is when he recovers. He's still really shit, and this fight has a very good chance of killing him if you can't finish it easily. There are two ways to finish this fight. One, you can just beat the shit out of the shield wall. It's really difficult because they have shields, as you might expect. There is another way, which is a little bit slower. And it is these guys that step out. Every one of these guys you kill will whack a quarter of the health off of this thing thereabouts. Going to... Oh, we got, like, no chance of hitting that thing. A good hit. Good hit, Bart. Oh, it didn't cycle. Oh, that's intriguing. All right. We gotta try and take advantage of this. Okay. Kill that guy. My goal is to keep Bart alive here. The shield wall's almost dead. It has rotated, which brings back its shield, which is a little bothersome, but what are you going to do? I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to split the shield again. And it's going to rotate again. We're going to split its shield again. And it's going to just keep doing this, apparently. Okay. Play our loot. Get our energy back. Bart, I love your energy right now, man, but it would be cool if you would, like, chill a little bit. Let's recover again. Okay, here's a dude. Gonna whack his shield. Now, as long as we can kill this guy... we should be in good shape. Alright. And with that, the shield wall should be defeated. Fighting like a lion, you almost managed to single-handedly do the impossible, to break through the wall of shields formed by the French. Attacking over and over again, you incapacitate one enemy after another. Inspired by your courage, other soldiers begin to fight more boldly, and now the prince is able to launch a new, powerful attack that sweeps away the French defense. This time there can be no doubt. The enemy is fleeing and the city is almost taken. No, I don't need to loot them. The victory almost slipped through your fingers, so you can hardly believe your own eyes as the tide turns around. After several long months of siege, the town is finally taken. You were among the first English troops to enter the town, so you were able to take great spoils of war. 150 money. In the evening, the king holds a big feast in honor of the victory. It's been a long time since you could relax and unwind like this, and it dawns on you that you are not doing half bad, actually. Unlike many of your comrades in arms, you are still alive, active, and in good standing with the Earl, who is open to promoting you. This positive thinking leaves you with a strange new sensation that was not there a moment ago. Confidence? You fall asleep fast and sleep well. Per Edward's plan, the victory at Cambrai should have been the opening to proceed inland. No one planned to stay in the captured town for long, but what happened the next morning was exactly what everyone was trying to avoid. French colors appeared on the horizon. The king realizes that his army needs time to recover and makes the unexpected decision to harbor his troops in the town and its outskirts, expecting the walls to do him as good a service as they did for the French. In just one day, you turn from the besiegers into the besieged. Chapter 3, the tables turn. The king knew about the French getting closer, so the arriving army was no surprise in itself. Their numbers, however, appeared to be much higher than expected. The initial willingness to give battle to the French now falls into uncertainty. By staying several months at Cambrai, the English army has lost its main advantage, pace. Now there is no way they can move inland and crush the French piecemeal as initially planned. You find yourself locked in a badly damaged town that was nearly turned to ruin mere days ago. By good fortune, the French also appear reluctant to attack despite their numerical advantage, so the assault that was feared from the very moment they appeared on the horizon did not come to pass. In fact, the French did not even bother to encircle the town, content with blocking the main exits and establishing patrols over the rest of the perimeter. More surprising news is that the monarchs got around the table to negotiate peace. Whether the negotiations will bear any fruit remains to be seen. And so we have survived to take the city of Cambrai. What changes does that bring? There are a few, but it's been about an hour, and I think that is enough for one video. Have a good one, guys, and see you next time. Later.